Hi there, welcome to the first episode of my 10-minute moan today. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is the ex-SNP MP Mhairi Black coming out with some outrageous claims about why people are protesting in the United Kingdom, and it looks like she's failing as a comedian as much as she failed as a MP. So this story is taken from the Scottish Daily Express, and their headline is "Failed SNP MP Mhairi Black blames the British Empire for the UK riots as she attacked politicians and Elon Musk. The ex-Paisley and Renfrewshire South MP blamed an old Nat grievance of the British Empire for the unrest kicking off throughout the UK, as she admitted Scotland has fascist problems as well, which goes to contradict some people's claims that we don't have a fascist problem in Scotland, and that gives us another reason for independence, because we need to get away from these. I hope that person's all right. Ambulance going by. Sorry, yeah, we have seen two people that I seen, and I wasn't looking for it, on Twitter when those three girls were killed in Southport, claiming that that was a good reason for independence because how nasty a place England is. These people reach no level low enough for them to actually consider what they say and do and try to justify independence at all costs. Crackpots, a lot of them. So anyway, this Mhairi Black, who's no longer an MP, the story says, failed SNP MP Mhairi Black blamed the British Empire for riots which have taken place across England, Wales and Northern Ireland. The former elected politician also accused Labour, the Tories and social media for the unrest, which had led to hundreds of arrests and jail terms for some jobs. See, there we go again. What even the newspapers that you would suggest weren't as left-wing as others used these words, right? Riots. Yes, there was some trouble, but there was a lot more protests than there was riots for the days leading after there was the deaths of these young girls on the streets of Southport. Anyway, First Minister John Swinney has met with Police Scotland about concerns demonstrations might take place north of the border, but there has been no signs of disorder. Planned far-right protests in Paisley and Bathgate on Friday night did not happen. That's because there was no planned far-right demonstrations in Paisley or Bathgate, with anti-racism campaigners taking to the streets instead. This narrative is getting boring. Anyway, Miss Black, who's currently performing a nightly show in the Edinburgh Fringe, listed reasons why she believed there was violence breaking out, with one of them being very historic. She insisted that an outdated British Empire mentality of patriotism is one of the factors. The British Empire is a favourite grievance for the Nats, who point to the fact that the countries have gained independence from the UK, but the 62 countries cited do not break away from the UK, but indeed the British Empire. Now, this bit I do have a wee bit of a question with Ms. Black, and that if your patriotism is based on being British, why is that a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing to be patriotic to British people? Is it a crime? Well, it seems to be so. And if you have any desires to be patriotically British, you're then putting a wee box over here as far right and a bad person. And what that means is, see, when you have concerns about your country, they're invalid automatically because you're far right. There you go, you got a Union Jack, you're far right, you're not allowed that, right? And that's what's wrong with this country, because these people who are termed far right, who could probably be from right across the political spectrum, don't have their concerns like concerns for immigration, concerns for asylum, concerns for knife crime, all these things, your housing shortages. You're not allowed these if you're putting this box over here as far right. So, Ms. Black previously got cheers for discussing this at the SNP's Skexit convention in 2023, when she declared since 1939, 62 countries have gained independence from Westminster. Scotland played a major part in both establishing and ruling the British Empire, meaning those countries mentioned also actually split from Scotland as well, although they were governed independently anyway. Writing for pro-Indian newspaper The National, she said, "From the Islamophobic chants we hear to the Union Jack straight around the thugs burning corner shops, There seems to be a link between the racist riots and an outdated British Empire mentality for patriotism. An empire which pillaged countries all over the world under the guise of educating them on civility. Those who assume that the white population of Britain must be the epitome of the human evolution. The presence of Union Jacks must not be taken to assume that racism and Islamophobia can or should be viewed through a constitutional lens. In the face of the far right, the only distinction that matters is whether you support fascism or not. I've asked people this on social media. What's fascism? They all give you a different answer. And none of it has been patriotic to Britain, right? But if you are, you're a fascist, okay? Ms Black also took shots at Elon Musk and both Labour and Tories for helping to spread the hatred, and insisted that Scotland is not free from the rise of fascism, which she said is gripping the United Kingdom. She said, in using Twitter X as his own personal vanity project, billionaire and owner Elon Musk has done everything in his power to make sure the platform facilitates the organisation and unbridled spread of hatred and misinformation. As you are. So because Twitter will not bow to the narrative being followed by the British government, by the British media, and by the British judiciary, it's a bad thing. It doesn't matter if what's been shared on Twitter is actually true or not. Because it doesn't fill the narrative I've already explained, it's automatically deemed a bad thing. I, when you look at it, can actually see as much far left narrative of lies as I can far right. But that doesn't matter. The far left, the left, they don't tell lies, according to crackpots like Mhairi Black. She outlined that there was three main sources for riots: racism, bigotry, poverty, and inequality. That's four. Anyway, and politicians and the media failing to tackle the far right. She said, as a public services decline in quality, the pressures in personal finances increase dramatically. Subsequently, the health and well-being of the population also starts to decline, leading to even more pressure placed on already struggling services. Now, that's great. I actually think you might have a wee bit of accuracy here. And then you question, well, why are public services, why do we have pressures and financial increase and subsequently health and well-being of the population declining? Do you think maybe we're overpopulated? And that might be a case. I also laugh when I see trade unions out in the streets wanting more immigration and more asylum seekers, right? When you actually consider what trade unions do. Trade unions are there to protect the British workforce. That's what they were invented for, right? So when you bring more people into the country, what that helps is the businesses that give people jobs. Because when you get more people, especially from foreign countries, willing to work in jobs like bus drivers and things like that, guess what? You can pay them less, right? So who wins and who loses? I'll tell you who wins. The fat cats that you tell us you hate. Who loses? The British workers, right? And then what happens is, because you've got too many people in the country, house prices and particularly house rental prices go up the way. Because the markets do that. When you've not got enough product to fill the demand, price goes up. That's what happens to house prices and rental prices, right? So we throw more people into the country, housing becomes an issue, stock becomes a problem, and the prices to actually live in one rise. So who benefits from that? I'll tell you, the fat cats that own all the property, right? Who loses out of that? These people, the trade unions, are meant to be protecting the good British worker, right? It's a total conundrum. It's a mind bender. And you're all playing part of this ridiculous, absolutely idiotic, lack of common sense narrative that's getting driven right through society. And one day, you'll wake up and realise it. And the last paragraph from this crackpot is, as people become tired and disenfranchised from simply trying to live, they often begin to look for someone to blame, rather than look at those who hold power and wealth. False prophets and grifters very quickly begin to show division and point the finger of blame at the minorities. Wow. As people become tired and disfranchised from simply trying to live, you're right, they often look for somebody to blame and what's caused these things. That's why the protest, you half-wit. You are telling them not to protest. You are wanting to put everybody that has these concerns into a box and say, you're bad people, we're not listening. You, Mhairi Black, are a crackpot and a crank, and are just saying all these words to try and fill your shows at the Edinburgh Fringe. So see, when you go on to talk about grifters, guess what? You're one of them, right? And I don't know why society's fallen for this. It is one of the greatest scams ever produced, right? This narrative that's been written just now. And trade unions are jumping into bed in it. They're all over every single one of these anti-protests, right? You guys want to bring more people to the country, which, guess what, harms the people you're actually meant to be serving, the working population of the United Kingdom. How do you like the apples? You're mad, right? You need to take a step back, take a wee sniff in the air and go, have I got this right? Because, no, giving people at protest banners with your union's names on them saying, we want more immigrants, right? Bring more people in, actually goes totally against what you're trying to achieve in the first place. And that is happier, richer British workers, right? But no, that's no cuddly enough. And now you've got Labour in charge, right? It's a wee bit more difficult for you to call strike action because you don't want to make your cuddly friends in Labour look a wee bit bad, do you? So all these bloody trade unions, great concept trade unions, right? Total bollocks what we've got now. They're actually going, well, we need to do something. We can't call for strikes because, like, Keir Starmer might look like a daft if we do that. So what will we do? We'll put our weight right behind all these protests without each actually thinking about the consequences of your action should these protests get what they want. And that's more immigration. You guys are absolute cranks, a lot of you, right? And you're running this narrative along with the media and along with the judiciary. And it's bonkers. You are ruining the country. Meanwhile, you want to pigeonhole and talk badly of people who have they've got it right. They actually go, this ain't working. Can we have a wee protest, please? We're getting babies killed in the street. Can we have a wee protest, please? And yes, I 100% agree with you. A small portion of those people protesting turn into violence, right? It's not right. But then that happens on both sides. Well, unless you're in the media of the UK and you don't want to report it, unless you're the Home Office of the UK and you actually put a video up last night, I'll put a link to that at the end, where they're actually driving this narrative that the only people being arrested in their streets right now are white male. It's all bollocks, and you guys are buying it. Those driving it, I'll never forgive you, and those swallowing it need to wake up. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please consider subscribing. Get involved in the chat below in the messages. But most importantly of all, unless you're one of these crackpots that don't understand there's a narrative being served on you and you're falling for the bollocks, see everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.